So, what do Valorant, a PS5 controller, the Minecraft 1.6 update, and Pokemon Sword and Shield all have in common? Well, they're all today's quest objectives. So let's start with Valorant. If you haven't heard about it yet, Valorant is a teamfight, first-person shooter game made by Riot, who are the same guys that make League of Legends. Now, the reason Valorant is getting so much attention recently is because the unique way that you participate in the beta. In order to get a beta key, what you have to do is you have to link your Riot account to a Twitch account, and then you watch Twitch streamers who have drops enabled, and you have a chance to get a key. So, it's not like you just watch and then you get one. What happens is roughly every hour, I think it is, or don't quote me on that, I'm not entirely sure, but at some indeterminate amount of time, let's put it that way, they make a drawing for keys out of all the eligible people. And you get eligible by watching a certain amount. So, based on how much you've watched in between drawings, your chances of getting a key goes up. Now, let's say you spend an entire day watching Valorant streams on Twitch, and then you don't watch it for the rest of the week. Chances are you're not going to get it on any of those other days because you haven't been eligible for those drawings. So it does take some dedication. I just got mine yesterday, and it took me about 3 days of watching streams in order to get it. And weirdly enough, after watching Summit and Tim the Tatman, I switched over to one that I hadn't heard of, Anomaly, and within 2 minutes, I had a key from him. So it really is just random. It's just based on chance. But the more you watch, the more your chance rates go up, although once you hit a certain point, the increases are incredibly small. But if we're going to be honest, when there's so many people trying to get a beta key, even a small rise in your chances, it can really help you out. But let's talk about the actual game itself. So I really enjoy Valorant so far. I got utterly destroyed in my first few matches, but that's okay. They were learning experiences for me, and it took me a little while to figure out, what exactly am I doing here? It's got abilities like Overwatch. It's got the same sort of mechanics of CSGO. You're planting the spike. It's 5-on-5. The guns are very similar to CS, but there is also a little aspect of you've got to figure out what works best for you. I kept switching through guns trying to figure out, what am I happy with here? I didn't like using a sniper rifle. It was too slow. I didn't like using, machine guns, and I don't think it did enough focus damage, and, hold the trigger down longer, and you're not going to get as good of aim. That's just the way it is. And Valorant is a game that really prioritizes making your shots count. So you get 150 health, but there are guns that with one headshot, they can do more than 150 health. So all the skirmishes and encounters with other players are meant to be tactical, and that's where the abilities from the Overwatch side of the game come into play. So I settled on playing as Viper with a Guardian, and the Guardian was a great gun for my play style. It gives me a little bit of range, good high damage, but it also lets me play well, I think, with Viper, who is a controller and is sort of supposed to come in there and help set up areas for teams to take over. She has a wall that she pulls up of poison gas cloud, all these obscure, where you're going. They do damage too. And so you have to think really tactically. You have to move with your team in order to get the spike planted or to play defense. The maps are nice and big, very well designed. But, you got to be careful. Is it worth peeking that corner? You got to be able to start to predict where are the enemies. And part of that is because of vision. Now, if you're familiar with League of Legends, vision is a huge part of that game. You place down wards in order to be able to see in the lanes where enemies are coming from. So Valorant has that aspect in the fact that you can't see an enemy on an app. Oh, goodness, not the app. Yes. Yeah, pull out your phones, download the Vision app. Where are my enemies? Great. Anyway, what you do is you can't see them, so you have to either use your abilities, like, for example, Viper, her Poison Cloud. If they step into it or too close to it, they're revealed on the map. Or if you can see them line of sight. If they're out of line of sight and they're not touching an ability, they won't show up on the map. They could be holding down that trigger and shooting all they want. But unlike Call of Duty, which reveals based on gunshots, you won't see them on the map. So it does sometimes lead to being surprised. Someone pops up right behind you and you had no idea they were coming. So it does force you to think tactically. I really enjoy that. I think it's a good balance of using ability smart, using tactics smart. You have to communicate with your team. You have to move around the map intelligently and try and predict the other team moving intelligent. And then, of course, there's the typical FPS aspect of it. Shoot first, shoot fast. It really does come down to that sometimes. Whoever shot first, shot fast, shot most accurately, they're going to get the kill. Most likely the team's going to move on to a win. Like I said, I got utterly destroyed. I was like 3 kills, 15 deaths. It was bad in my first couple games. But then I flipped that around and 20 and 11. Much better, much happier at those numbers. But it really is a lot of fun. So if you are thinking, I don't have anything better to do this quarantine, feel free to go ahead and try for a beta key. You can even leave the Twitch stream running in the background. You don't have to be online to get the key. So, like, if the stream ends while it was just running in the background or whatever, you still do have a chance to get a key. You don't have to be on the Twitch client at that time to get the key. But all around, Valorant, it maybe doesn't deserve all the hype it's getting, but it definitely does deserve some of the hype it's getting. And this is also just really unique for a way for a beta to be dropped. It's really good for the streaming community because you get a lot of views boosted, especially during the quarantine when, maybe their main job is gone, so now they're just doing streaming. So it's a great way to get some movement there, get some more views for them, and it's a great way, of course, for them to get the word out about their game. Everyone's streaming it, so everyone's talking about it. Valorant, it's everywhere. But that is enough from me about Valorant. Let's move on to the second thing I want to talk about today. This is a little dated news now. I want to talk about the PlayStation 5 Controller. So it's dropped. It looks pretty cool. Like in terms of futuristic controllers, this is definitely a controller of the future. I won't refute that. It looks like exactly what it claims to be. But I am a little interested about it. I'm not entirely sure that the design looks super ergonomical. I'm a big fan of, I have it right here, my Pro controller here. This is my wired Zelda one. And of course, I just like the way the Pro controller feels. I'm a fan of having buttons over here, but don't think I'm going to judge it based off that. I don't just need buttons in the typical left, top, right, bottom, because I'm a huge fan of the Stadia controller. I think it's a heavier controller, feels good in my hands, and I don't mind the buttons being right across from each other on the bottom. That's fine. But what I'm actually curious about is the mic inside the PS5 controller. That's the design I'm really worried about. And of course, I don't know entirely too much about having a mic inside a controller, but it basically makes me think that what you're going to hear when I'm, slamming away on some buttons because I'm getting absolutely wrecked in a match is you're going to hear a bunch of, oh, dude, look, I'm so good at this game. Oh, dude, getting wrecked. Oh, man. Oh, geez, left. You don't want to hear button mashing. And so I got to wonder, is the mic built into the controller? Is there some way that it's not going to pick up on button mashing, clicks, all of that stuff that happens when people's big old thumbs hit controllers? Is there some way that they're not going to pick up on that? Will it just be, picking up on my voice? Other than that, I think it's an okay looking controller. I think it's probably not going to be as comfortable as the Stadia controller or the Pro controller for the Nintendo Switch. But that is, of course, personal bias. I just think those two controllers feel really great. Xbox One controllers are all right, but I would definitely rank them below that. They just don't have the same nice kind of feel. Could just be their triggers, too. I like bigger, wider back triggers. I don't know. Just personal. Probably from playing so much GameCube as a kid. That's probably why. But I do worry about the mic being in the controller and the fact that it doesn't look super comfortable to hold. But otherwise, I think it's a really cool looking controller, really sleek, really modern. Again, if you're looking for next gen console, next gen controller, these words we toss out, this is a controller that definitely makes you think, oh, that's futuristic, that's new, that's cool. I really love some of the mock-ups that have come out for it, though. whether it's people doing like Nintendo versions of it or Persona 5 versions of it. I think they're just really, really awesome looking, and I'm glad that everyone seems to be excited about the design, because anytime people can get together and get excited about something, we always see great results from that. And of course, the art and design for some of these PlayStation 5 controllers that people are creating really are great examples of that. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. But, doesn't matter if I'm happy with it. As long as you guys are happy with it, we're all good here. Let's talk about Minecraft 1.16. So when I started playing Minecraft back in the Alpha edition, there weren't even beds yet. And I thought maybe creepers were like NPCs you could talk to or something like that. I kept looking for like normal RPG elements, but I was also a young kid, so you can excuse my naivety, I suppose. But Minecraft has come a long way since the alpha, and since the biggest major update I remembered was the 1.6 horse update, and that was crazy, blew my mind. But yeah, it's come a really long way, and we are now up to 1.16, also known as the Nether update. Still not the cave adventure update or whatever that people are really seeming to be pushing for, but the Nether could use some additions. I mean, you've got the Nether fortress there, glowstone, Nether quartz. Yeah, I think that's it. That's all I never go to the Nether. There's not a whole lot there. You got zombie pigmen and gas, I guess. So some unique mobs, but I'm more of an overworlder, so I don't mess with those. I don't mess with those crazy guys in that lava world. But there's a whole lot of stuff coming. Snapshots are out right now for 1.16 if you want to play them. I think they come out every Wednesday. So those are worth booting up your Minecraft for. And if you haven't played Minecraft in a while, maybe now's the time to hop back in and get back into what I think is a really great game. My friends and I play on a modded server, and you can actually find our mod pack that we use for our server. I'll leave a link in the description there. It's a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun. Some of the mods may not make sense as to why we use them, but as it says in the description, it's a grab bag of fun mods that we all like to play with. But enough about that. Let's talk about the updates to the actual vanilla Minecraft. So let's start with the mobs here. First of all, we've got piglins. Now, of course, piglins are naturally hostile, with one exception. If a player is wearing at least one piece of gold armor, the piglins will not be aggroed, I guess. They won't be hostile towards you from the get-go, as long as you're wearing some gold armor. Which is cool, I guess. Piglins, I think, are sort of like, what I immediately think when I hear piglin is I'm like, oh, like moblins from The Legend of Zelda. And weirdly enough, the little face icon on the wiki actually does kind of remind me of a moblin. So I thought that was a little interesting connection there. They can spawn wielding gold swords or crossbows. Man, crossbows. I die a lot to crossbows. I used to die a lot to bows when skeletons wore them. Crossbows, it's too much. I can't handle it, man. Arrows, dude. They can barter with the player, though. So if you're wearing that gold armor, the piglins won't be angry with you. And then you can go ahead and talk to them. I almost forgot, though. If you open a chest near a piglin, they will become aggravated toward you. So don't steal a piglin stuff, guys. Come on. That's just good person 101. We don't steal stuff from people, unless they deserve it. Piglins attack skeletons if they're in a group, as well as a new mob called the Hoglund, which I'll get here to in a minute. They will not be replacing zombie pigmen, though. So you will still see your old buddy, pig, the zombie pigman, or zombie, the zombie pigman, whatever you want to call them. They will still be there. They are scared by all soulfire blocks. So soulfire lanterns, soulfire torches, the soulfire campfires, and I guess just plain soulfire. The piglins are also scared of what we call zombified piglins and zoglins. Which, a lot of ogling going on right here, but I dig it. It's nice to have unity across mobs. So let's talk about the next one, the Hoglund. Hoglins are naturally hostile to the player. They're naturally hostile. They appear to have a higher melee range than most mobs. I don't know if that's going to be in the full release of that, but I think as of right now in this snapshot, they appear to have a larger melee range. I mean, they got really long arms. They're like, death comes to you. What can you do? Hoglins, am I right? which again makes me think hobgoblin. And now I'm thinking, oh, like goblins? Are these pigs like goblins? Are goblins really pigs? Are all pigs goblins? I don't know. They drop leather and raw pork chop when defeated, and they can be bred with crimson fungus and used as a source of food in the Nether. So, if hoglins are naturally hostile towards the player, I don't know how practical that makes using them as a source of food and trying to breed them. It's sort of like creating your own worst enemy, but I don't know, I guess if you got them all pinned in, in the pig pen, maybe that would be a usable Nether source of food. So I guess what I'm saying is if you want to live in the Nether, now you have reliable food. I've never understood, personally, people who like to set up shop in the Nether and they like to live there and they're like, oh yeah, I built my house in the Nether and the Nether's just so cool. I'm like, grass though? Trees though? I don't know. Maybe that's just me. So the Hoglund was previously known as the Piglin Beast, and they were changed to Hoglund by the community. So good job on that, Minecraft community. I think Hoglund is a better name than Piglin Beast. When bred using crimson fungus, they will produce baby Hoglins. They will not produce piglins, so it's not a progression right there. They will avoid warped fungus due to its smell, and will avoid nether portals, probably due to the fear of being transformed into a Zoglin. Well, Noah, what's a Zoglin, you might be asking? Hold your horses, I've got the answers. Zoglins are just hoglins that enter the overworld. And when piglins enter the overworld, that's going to be a zombified piglin, which, if you remember, those are what piglins are scared of. They're scared of zombified versions of themselves. It makes sense. Humans are scared of human zombies. Piglins are scared of zombie piglins. It happens. Sometimes they scare away piglins, similar to zombified piglins. So not always, but I think probably in the full release we'll see that Zoglins will most likely always scare away piglins. That's at least my thought on the matter. They ignore warped fungus, so they're not going to be deterred by that like the Hoglin is, and they can't be bred. So you're not going to make a mass army of zombies. No, thank you. Just not part of the plan right now. There's a new mount, though, from the Nether. You're like, what? New mount? No horses in the Nether? No horses in the Nether, but there are Striders in the Nether. So Striders are attracted to warp fungus, unlike the Hoglin, who is repelled by it. And they are the first passive mob to spawn in the Nether. Passive mobs being like cows and sheep. Zombie pigmen are not technically passive mobs, because even though they'll sometimes ignore you, if you slap one, it'll kill you. But if you slap a Strider, it will not kill you. They spawn on lava lakes, and they are immune to fire and lava damage. They're breedable with warped fungus, and you can ride them with a saddle. So yeah, just like a horse, you can ride them. Just pop that saddle on them wherever you find your saddle from, and you can ride out onto the lava. It seems like that's the logical conclusion here, since they're immune to fire and lava damage. You see a little river of lava, you want to get your way through it, ride your Strider. They do turn to a shade of blue when outside of lava. They're red when they're in lava. So that's pretty cool. Color changing mob. Just like when you name a sheep Jeb. At least I think it's Jeb. Not important. We got a few new items that come along with this Nether update. The netherite ingot can be used to craft the best tools and armor in the game. So Diamond, sit down. Go away. You're bad now. That's right. It is bad now. Diamond's no longer on top. So like basically anything out there that uses diamond as the pinnacle of that rank, you're going to have to shove that down. Netherite is now what you want to try and strive for, basically. So like you're like, oh yeah, dude, I'm gold ranked, or I'm diamond ranked. No, get netherite ranked, scrubs. Netherite scraps, they're made after smelting ancient debris in a furnace, blast furnace, or smoker. The netherite ingot itself is made from then those netherite scraps. You can create a block of netherite and then turn it back into netherite ingots. So, it's got a normal progression system. The netherite scrap is interesting to me, because if you make 4 pieces of netherite scrap, which, again, after smelting ancient debris in a furnace, you have to add 4 pieces of gold in a crafting grid to make netherite ingots. So netherite ingots are pretty expensive. Like, that is definitely an in-game item. Because, diamonds, you just mine the diamond and it's ready to go. But here you got to get ancient debris, you got to smelt it, you got to add 4 pieces of gold with these netherite scraps just to make the ingot. So that's a worthy in-game tool. I think that's a fair progression. Soul Speed Enchanted Book. It enchants boots, and you run faster on soul sand and soul soil. So, those are slow items. They make you move a lot slower. So I guess Soul Speed Enchanted Book will just let you enchant that away. And you'd be like, I'm going to zip now. I'm going to zoom. The earth can't hold me back. Lodestone Compass is a compass that works in any dimension. Previously, if you tried to use a compass in the nether, it just would spin nonstop because you're in another dimension. It's got no poles to work with. But the lodestone compass will work in any dimension, and it'll point to a lodestone that it is linked with, so your compass does need to be linked there. Warped fungus on a stick, used to direct striders while riding. You craft with a warped fungus and a fishing rod, a lot like your carrot on a stick for a pig. And Pig Step is a music disc found in the Bastion Remnants. So yeah, dubstep, chill step, hop step, meet Pig Step. Soulfire blocks have been added. You heard me mention them earlier because, the piglins are afraid of that stuff. It is blue fire. It acts the same as regular fire. Lit on soul soil or soul sand will turn blue. So that's when it's blue. It generates naturally in the Soul Sand Valley biome in the Nether. Currently does not melt snow and ice. So you could build a snow fort around it, which is kind of cool. Soul Campfire. This block has the ability to scare away piglins. Functions exactly like a normal campfire. No difference there, just blue this time. Here's the last one I want to talk about for items. The lodestone, which is used for compasses to point at. You interact with the lodestone, and the lodestone will also make compass work in other dimensions. So it is important to have those if you're going to use your compass to navigate. I don't know how many people do that. I personally don't use compass that often, but if you do, then the lodestone is important to have. Go ahead and talk about the biomes. Soul Sand Valley, which I mentioned earlier, includes uncovered fossils, soul sand, large basalt pillars, blue fog, and soul fire, which is that blue fire that is blue when on soul soil. Crimson forest, dense forest with trees made of nether warp blocks and weeping vines. Warped forest is a variation of the crimson forest. There you get the warped fungus, twisting vines, nether roots found on the ground. So those are, again, those 2 types of fungus which seem to really affect mobs here in the nether. Basalt deltas, volcanic place made of basalt, black stone, ground and roof, lava, magma cubes, magma blocks, glowstone, gravel, mushrooms. Typical nether stuff, it seems like that, just with the basalt delta in. The last thing I want to talk about today is the crackdowns that Sword and Shield players are facing. Now you're probably wondering, crackdowns? Sounds a little harsh. Well, it is, and for good reason. So, Sword and Shield players can play online in competitive battles where you accrue wins and losses, and they're all combined in this win rate record. Except some people found a way to get around that. So basically what some people are doing is when they start to lose a battle or whatever, at a certain point when you're not going to win a battle, you can put your Switch into airplane mode, shut it off, disconnect, whatever to just get it unhooked from your current battle, which I think just putting it in airplane mode will do. You disconnect from the battle and there's no consequence for you. It's not counted as a loss. But more importantly, it's not counted as a win for that other trainer. And this has caused a real problem because it's really prolific. Lots of people are doing this because they just don't want to have, that loss on their records. So you see someone who's like, oh yes, I have 347 wins and no losses. But, oh dude, I thought I saw you lose but no, not at all. And, it's a way for them to avoid accruing that loss. And I mean, I get it. Win rates are important to people. But come on, this is Pokemon. This is built around friendship and a good society and happiness. And don't mess it up for the rest of us, It's understandable that you want to try and preserve that win rate. But because it comes at the loss of someone else's win, that battle just never happened at all as far as, all of existence is concerned. And it's caused a real problem. So Nintendo has said it's really going to crack down on that. People are going to get permanent banned. So you you run the chances of, if you try to DC just to avoid having that loss on your record, there's a chance you may never get to have a record again, because Nintendo said they are cracking down, they are doing permabans. So this is a do at your own risk kind of deal, and sometimes that's just the way it is. So I would advise you, if you're dead set on doing that, be careful. And my real advisement is don't do it at all, because not only is it lying, it makes the other person suffer too. And come on, we don't want to do that. That's not the type of people we are, right? Let's be better than that. All right, that is all I have for today's quest objective. Please remember that you can subscribe to this channel on YouTube to get some more stuff. We are The Motley Broadcast, and we do a whole bunch of things. So we have a Twitch stream that's going to start here soon. I'm not exactly sure how often we'll stream, but the goal is to do it pretty often. You can find us as THE_MB. And that's us on twitch.tv. I'll leave a link for that, of course. And you can find it in our link tree, which will also be down in the description. So if you're looking for some of that Valorant stuff I mentioned earlier, or League of Legends, Minecraft, we're going to end up streaming it all. It's a great place to check that out. Quest Objective is also released as a podcast, so you can find it there. And if you're listening to this in podcast form, be sure to check out the channel. There's a lot more than just Quest Objective. Perilous Path, that is our Dungeons & Dragons live play podcast. It's been on hiatus for a little bit because of coronavirus. It's been hard to get together to record, since not everyone has professional recording equipment. So that's been a struggle that we're trying to get work through that right now. Hopefully a new episode of that will be up soon, though. But most importantly, guys, stay safe. Make sure you're washing your hands. And I know you may think, it's been 2 weeks, I'm done with quarantine. Please be aware that you're putting other people at risk, because you may have been quarantined for 2 weeks and you may not show any signs, but you could always go out and pick it up that same day that you leave after those 2 weeks, and you can spread it to someone else, or you may have it and not even realize it. So do be careful, wash your hands, stay home, follow the government regulations, and most importantly, guys, enjoy yourselves. Make sure that you are taking advantage of the time to look after your mental health and keep happy. That's all I've got for you today. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye!